Hello, friends, and welcome to Trailblazing TV. I'm Deborah Sweet. Today, I am super excited to bring you another one of my bestest, dearest friends that I've come to know, love, appreciate, and value, Miss Emily Klawans. Emily, thanks for being here with us.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you so much for having me and for making me part of this amazing uh, journey that we're going on with branding up.
Oh, you bet. I'm so honored to have you here and to share with our viewers what it is, first of all, that you do and why it's so important. And so, friend, I want to talk to you for a moment. First of all, thanks for taking the time to be with us here today. You know, it's really important sometimes that we pause, slow down, and nourish and nurture ourselves with new knowledge. And there's a statement that I love. You've heard it before. I'm going to share it again because if we're showing up in your world, it's probably the right time. And the statement is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So what Emily and I are going to be talking about today is a pickup from one of the previous episodes that I did about our branding up. So as you can see in my profiles, I'm a business strategist, brand strategist, marketing. All of this comes together. And my clients come to me for a couple of reasons. Number one, one of the things that they've said to me over the years is, Deborah, I need to make more money and get more customers. Help me get my marketing to be effective. There's another side to the story, though, and that is, Deborah, the things that I'm doing are working, but not working quite the way I want. What am I missing? And so I bridge that gap, and that gap most often over my 3 to 4 decades, I say three, but it's more than that, is that the starting place that I look to help you be successful in your business growth is that we look at what's your brand and what's your brand position. And like I've talked about before, if you don't know what your brand position is, make sure you get on my calendar, book a brand strategy session with me. There's no cost for that. We're gonna take a look at where you at, where you want to be. And I'm gonna help you make some pivots. Now, what Emily and I are here to talk about today and why this is so important is that over the years, I've come to learn, and I talk about this all the time, we can have the best systems, process, procedure in our company. And that's super important. You want the process, the procedure, and the structural integrity to support what it is that you're doing. But there's this human component. I call it the H factor. The H factor needs to connect in with systems, process, and procedure. And many times when you are leveling up, right, you're moving that next stage of growth, whether it is you're doubling up in business, maybe you want to 5x your results, 10x your results. Sometimes it is that moment of Kaizen, right? That 1% adjustment that can totally influence the results of the trajectory you're on. And friend, that is why Emily is here. See, there's this part about branding that so many people miss. In fact, I know because I've talked to them and I myself worked through this area, and that has to do with how we show up. So this part that most often I know a lot of people, and it's part of the journey that I've lived through too, that I really didn't, for a long time before I met Emily, didn't really understand the true impact of how we can really influence the visibility and the communication of our brand through our clothing. Now, this may sound and feel a little counterintuitive for you, but I invite you to trust the process that I'm about ready to lead you through, because Emily has a perspective that is so profound that it is why she's here, why we are aligning together on many things for helping businesses really understand how to brand up, to be seen, be heard, so that you can truly attract the right clients and make the income you deserve and desire. So Emily, I can love on you. Before I start loving on you, let's give a proper introduction. Tell us, who are you? What is your company? And give me a quick overview of what is your zone of genius. Where do you reside?
Well, Emily Klawans, and thanks for having me. And Deborah, working with you has been wonderful. And I, like you said before, went through part of your process with leveling up your brand. I am a fashion stylist. what I've decided to do with my skills and knowledge is put it towards working with entrepreneurial and business women to get them to bring their personal brand so that it's all aligned as far as what they're wearing. It becomes the cover to their personal brand story.
I love that. Okay, hold that thought. Because, friend, I really want you to absorb what Emily just said. I've had the pleasure of being her client as well. And Emily has really given me the confidence to know how to dress and how to actually let the essence, the energy, the details of my business brand show up through the clothing that I wear. But one of the things that Emily just laid on the table for you that's so profound, and Emily, I'm going to ask you to repeat it because it's in you, but I really want our friends here to hear it. Tell us again, what is the description of how our clothing impacts our brand from your perspective?
Well, the way that I look at it is your clothing becomes the cover to your personal brand story. So you can work really hard on your branding, knowing your values, knowing the essence of you and what you want to project. But if you don't bring it all together with your wardrobe, it kind of becomes a disconnect. We've discussed that before, the disconnect. We grow up thinking, don't judge a book by its cover. And in a lot of ways, that still is true. But especially right now, we are all online. People see you first, and impressions are made within the first 3 seconds. And if the impression that you're making is not in line with the impression that you want, you're going to lose your audience.
So what you're saying is that our clothing actually is a reflection of how we do business.
Oh, absolutely. You are a walking, talking advertisement for your brand, for your personal brand, for who you are, what you're about, and what you do. And if what you're wearing does not reflect what you do, who you are, and what you want to put out there to attract the audience that you want, you are basically putting all this work into creating this wonderful brand and then losing what you've worked so hard for because you're not presenting it visually.
So Emily, just for a moment, you said something that was really important, and I really want to dispel a couple of myths that show up around branding and around our clothing, okay? Because there's a lot of people that at first blush, they're like, wait a minute, clothes are just clothes, right? I can throw on a suit, I'm gonna look good, the suit's gonna make me look professional. We've been told for years just to put on that power suit. And now what you're saying, or what I hear you're saying, is something different. So friend, I wanna share with you, this is me from all the work I've done for years doing branding. Myth number one, branding is not just a logo. It's not just your colors. It's not about your website per se. Those are all tools that reveal what it's like to work with you. Yes, the logo actually did start from back in cowboy days, right? It was the stamp that let people know that property belonged to that rancher. So I'm giving you a little history lesson, right? That is the backstory to how our logos in business came to be today. But when we're talking about branding, where I go deep, and it's what Emily's layering into, is that the branding is everything you do from the time you say hello to the next time you say hello. It's my first day with my new tongue, right? Try that again. It's everything. This is Deborah's definition. Everything from the time you first say hello to the next time you say hello, and everything in between. So Emily, correct. I believe what I'm hearing you say. In fact, I know because I've worked with you. I just want to make sure it's really clear to our viewers that what you're saying is that when somebody works with me, or a brand strategist, right? You can have the logo, you can have the company colors, you can have your mission statement, your vision statement. We can have the good culture, but if how we choose to dress is not in alignment with everything else that we've just been working on and growing through, that the clothing can create a disconnect that can prevent us from actually having the opportunity to make the sales and build our business. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. Absolutely. Okay. it's like you said, it sounds like such a superficial thing. It's fashion. It's this. It's not about fashion. It's not about the next big trend or being fashion forward. It's about the person discovering what their style is, what they love to wear, and how can we weave that in to their brand so that no matter where they're going or what they're doing or who they're meeting, they're wearing their brand all the time.
So I want to share, I'd like to invite you to share something that I think is super important for our viewers to understand about you. So you've told me a little bit of your story. I don't know all the parts and pieces. I love learning along the way, but I know that you were just hardwired as a young one, that clothing and dressing so that things matched and were coordinated and were polished, that kicked in when you were a wee one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So ladies, that's really cool because she can teach us what to do. I didn't grow up in that world. I wanted to be fashionable, but I was born in the big city. I lived in the way out country where clothing was shopping at the five and dime. So it wasn't always so current for young ones, right? So we can lean into Emily's knowledge and her passion there. But Emily, I think what's really important, and this is what what you really bring to the table. Talk to us about the other side of your story, and that is your social work. Talk to us in this for a moment, please.
Yes. So from a little girl, time I was a little girl, I did always love clothes and matching, and what I wore, I wanted it to be me. But one of the most important things that I discovered about myself as I was growing up was I love helping people. I love working with people. I love being personal one-on-one with people. And so I received my master's in social work about 25 years ago. It was the most amazing education for myself. I don't practice it per se, but all the knowledge that I gained while I was getting my master's has helped me along the way. And so when I'm working with my clients, I pull a lot of that knowledge in because it's not just about figuring out the exterior, but it's also about figuring out on the inside of the person what may be blocking them from expressing themselves, so that when we are able to get to that point where we can discover their personal style and they are comfortable with who they are authentically exuding confidence. They're not just faking it till they make it.
I so appreciate that. Like, friend, this is why Emily's here. That component of her is so deep and so true. And so why that's important for you when you're looking at rising up for this year, 2021, right? You're figuring out where you're going to be. You're working on those goals. You put a lot of time, effort, and energy. And yes, the world did change. And yes, the world is opening back up. We're still navigating new terrain. Being to that place where you know the inner you and it's connected with the outer you. And then you can showcase it with what you put on in the day. And yes, the clothing does make you feel different, right? That is going to have an influence when you're having that conversation with your next prospect, with your client, as you're doing your marketing, as you're doing your fulfillment. God, I could go deep on this, but I don't want to right now because I want to ask Emily a question. So Emily, I actually there's one point that I do want to share about you. So when you express that you're not practicing currently, I think it's important. You actually have. And you've done it recently out here, even in San Diego, doing a lot of charity work. And so talk for a moment about the experience that you witnessed when you were taking your skills, talent, and heart into one of the local charities. What did you watch when you started helping women that maybe never took time for themselves or didn't know how to dress in the way that you're talking about? What happened?
So I didn't mean to interrupt. So
no.
What you're referring to is Dress for Success. And just to give a brief backstory, I do love volunteer work and I love giving back.
Mhm.
And when we first moved out to San Diego, I did want to get back in the fashion business, which is why I decided to go the route of being a personal fashion stylist. So I was trying to come up with a way how I could combine my fashion knowledge and style expertise with giving back to the community. So I found a wonderful organization called Dress for Success, which takes women who are coming from unfortunate experiences, whether it's abuse, financial, they're homeless. We try to get them back on track. And the
Mm.
way that one of the components, and it's not the whole component because there's other components involved in the program, but my component was dressing them for their interviews that they will be going on. And also, many times they were going to court. Unfortunately, they were going to battle for custody for their child. They needed to be dressed. They did not have clothes. So they would come to me, and we had this beautiful setup that was like a boutique. And oftentimes these women come in hunched over, kind of withdrawn, very just closed off because of all the negative things that had happened to them. Um, and what I was able to do was meet with them and pull together looks based on where they were going. And I would put them in the dressing room with these suits or separate things that we picked out together. And when they walked out of that dressing room, it, it was a 180. All of a sudden, they
Mm.
were standing up straight. You could just feel the confidence coming from them, and they would look at themselves in the mirror and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is me. And that was when I had the epiphany of, this is what I want to do.
Mm.
I want to continue doing this work with these women and see this amazing transformation. Let me see how I can take that and transform it into other ways of bringing about confidence in women.
There you go.
And that is when I had already met you, Deborah, and we were working together, working on trying to figure out my niche, which I had then discovered by being with Dress for Success. And I had met with Marcy, who you spoke to yesterday, who was an amazing brand photographer, and realized I can do both. I can give back by working with these women and make the transformation for them. And then I can also create a business out of it by making these transformations for these entrepreneurial business women who really want to put themselves out there, make that money, get those clients, and I can help them with their clothes so that they become that amazing cover that will attract their audience and provide them with the opportunities that they desire.
Yes, and you rock it. So
Thank
I
you.
need to be really real because that's what you get here. You get all of me. So Emily and I believe we've known each other about 5 years now, maybe five and a half ish.
Yeah.
And so how I came to know Emily was, yes, I was getting ready to, I was leveling up my brand of like what I lead my clients through. I've lived through everything I do. I've lived it. You get it all, whether you think you want it or not, you're going to get all of me. Right. Um,
And you're amazing. So we love getting on
remember that.
with you.
Okay. So my point being is that when I met Emily, I've had this macro vision of me that I've had since a little girl. And so the clothing component of it, parts of my stories along the way is that I did not have, like, I grew up with a lot of hand-me-downs. They were funky, psychedelic 60s hand-me-downs. I wanted to be pretty. That wasn't always the clothing that showed up in my world. I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel pretty. And even being comfortable in the clothes that I had available, that wasn't always the case. And Emily, we were just talking about this the other day that, because I started earning money very early. I've been working for a very long time. So I'd save up my money and I'd go do my best to shop, and I would buy things that excited me. And what was really interesting, I'll give the short version of this story. What was interesting in hindsight is that things that excited me when I was wearing them, unfortunately, my peers at the time, whether they were adults or my schoolmates, I got very ridiculed for it. I got laughed at, I got ridiculed, and that really hurt my heart. So in my career, I went on, most of my career had been sales. I've done sales in many different areas that always led to management, leadership, running businesses, things like that. And so what's relevant for us to share right here, because I think a lot of ladies relate to this, is that shopping to me for clothing, especially in the professional career, like I have this one closet, no joke, one closet, one section. This is my suits. This is my business stuff. Cause I didn't know what to do. Nobody taught me, right? I did my best from a young place. And clearly, people were laughing at me. So I must not be doing things right. That's what my young girl brain thought. So I developed this section of my closet. And I remember I'd save my money, and twice a year, I would go update my wardrobe. I'd have the spring, summer updates, and then I'd have the fall, winter. And because I was building the marketing firm and I was working with men and working with women, that what happened more and more is that it's like, okay, well, I need to tone down my hair. I have really crazy curly hair. I learned how to straighten it. So it was not so much, right? And then in the clothing, it became, well, I needed the power suit. I had to have that black suit and the pinstripe suit. And I had some really awesome suits. And I'd walk in the room and people go, whoa, that's a power suit, right? So all of this led to one day where I remember I was at a business meeting and I thought I was dressed coordinated, right? I learned a couple of things, you read a book, you watch a video, and I was color coordinated. I had some boots on because I like my boots, and I had a pair of brown wool lined slacks on, and I had a pretty white button-up blouse buttoned up to here, and I had a big brooch because I love jewelry. I love brooches and things. And I put a brown sweater on over the top. And I straightened my hair that day. And I walked into the business meeting. So I was coordinated. I walked into this business meeting, started networking with my friend, Mike. Mike, if you ever see this, yes, my friend, this is another area that you impacted me. And my friend looked at me and he goes, "What's this?" And I'm standing there thinking, well, I'm warm. It's winter. I look kind of good. Like, what do you mean? What's this? And he goes, "What's this? What's with the Laura Ingalls getup?" Oh. I was like, what? And ever since, so it's really like, I heard that. And then I'm like, what do you mean by that? I think I look good. I'm just wearing coordinates and this is professional. But boy, that stuck in the back of my head. And then on another day, I went to that same meeting, and it was definitely in fall, winter, because I had a longer skirt on, pair of boots. And this was a different colored skirt, and I had a different type of a hat pointing to my shoulders, was shirt, right? And I put on a belt. I grabbed a belt from my rock and roll, my music closet, because I had a closet for business. We had a closet for casual, or a section of the closet for business, a section of the closet for casual, and then a completely separate closet that was all my rock and roll music stuff. Because, I could never wear that to a business meeting. But this one day I grabbed a belt and I showed up. Now I thought I looked pretty good, but I didn't know, I've already heard my friends tell me I'm looking like Laura Ingalls, and what does that mean? And this time I heard from my friends and my colleagues, they're like, "Oh, you look kind of fashiony today. You look fashiony." Well, what does that mean? So why am I telling you this story? I'm telling it because I journeyed through thinking that I had to wear certain things and I had to show up to business a certain way. But clearly my friend Mike, and I do love you for this. I know I made fun of you, but I love you for this, because what Mike actually was pointing out is that I had toned down my energy so much that it wasn't even close to being representative of who I really am. And then that day that I put a few other things together, and then I pulled in this other accessory, that was the starting of me allowing myself to express. So, Emily, I want you to talk to this. I shared this story for a reason, because this is what you are masterful at. it took me many years to allow myself to say yes to letting my brand be seen through my clothing. And it doesn't have to be that way when we have somebody like you in our back pocket, in our corner, in our side, right? And what you helped me to do, and you watch, we still dress me. And there are days when you're like, no, you need to wear this and this. And I don't want to say I fight you, but there's a little, sometimes there's resistance, right? Because you're bringing things together that I would have never thought. And every time you're spot on. So please talk to our friends here with us about this impact that really takes place when we are dressing in a way that's right for us, that allows us to truly express our brand, especially if our viewers here are not even like I was when I met you. I didn't even know what it meant to have a fashion style, right? All I knew is that I had some pro photos that Marcy was going to take. I had no clue what to wear, and you helped me put outfits together, but you did so much more. So talk for just a couple of minutes about the let's bust the myth behind the little black dress and the business suit, or you've talked about it, what we think we're supposed to wear. Talk into that for a while, please.
That's exactly what I was just going to touch on. A lot of women get caught up in what they think they should wear based on who they're seeing or where they're going, and they lose themselves and who they are when they do that, because they're dressing for other people. They're not dressing for themselves. So when I work with a client, we try and figure out what their personal style is. Because a lot of times women are like, personal style, I don't know what personal style is. Yeah. Well, it's just kind of wearing your personality on the outside. So we identify that, and then I work with them as far as what their brand is, and we try and take the disconnect they once had about dressing for other people. And I help them to pull together a wardrobe that they don't have to think anymore. It becomes effortless because it is representative of who they are. It's not representative of their business per se. Their wardrobe becomes a reflection of them and their business in a very effortless way, that they're able to go into their closet no matter where they're going or what they're doing. They don't have to say, well, this is who I'm meeting, or this is where I'm going. The style of the clothes will represent them no matter what. Now, yes, sometimes you do have to wear certain things depending upon the occasion, and some professions, yes, more formal attire is required, but there are ways to bring a personality out in that as well. So you don't have to wear the drab, I don't mean to say this, but the drab stereotypical business suit or pantsuit. A lot of times you can start with that as a base, if it's navy or gray or black, and you can add pops of color, things that will bring out who you are, so you don't feel like you are caged in this business wear.
There you go. That was, oh my God, that was a great word to use. Make sure that you use that in the future, because that's so true. Ladies, how many times do we put on that suit and you just sit there and you fidget all day, or the skirt or the shoes, because it's not quite right for you. And Emily, you have another way too, when you're working together. And what I love is the collaboration, right? I help my clients through my Brand You program and in the private work I do, really flesh out how they want to show up visually and how they want to show up with their words. And you and I we coordinate in that particular way that you can then take those details and come in from another perspective. And you really do make getting ready easy. And what I love about working with you is that, one, we get to save money, because no longer are we putting money into clothes that are not right for us. Like, girls, how many of you have clothes sitting in your closet? How many times have you bought clothes that it's in the piles and you're like, man, it still has tags on, I've never worn it, right? Emily, oh my God, she makes it easy. You also make it super easy. And I'd like to have you give this tip, because I want to make sure that our friends here today walk away with a couple of details that they can apply right away. But boy, time saving. What is you've taught this? I know I've been living this a long time, but you just make it so easy. What's one of the biggest ways that we can save time, gain time? It's not just saving time, it's gaining time, finding time back by doing one tip. And I'm going to let you, I know you know what it is. So which one is it?
Prepare the night before.
Yes.
And a lot of times what I will do, even for myself and when I'm working with clients, is suggest, okay, so, maybe what you pull out the night before, it might not necessarily be how you're feeling the next day. So if you have 2 or 3 ready to go outfits that you can just know when you put on, they're going to look right and take you where you want to be and represent who you are, put them in the focal point. I call it the prime real estate of your closet, so that when you open your closet, you know that piece, that outfit, that look is going to take you where you need to be. So if you do that the night before, pick 1 or 2 things, pull them together, put them actually outside the closet, so you don't even need to get overwhelmed. But when you open up your closet,
There you go.
It's going to save you time, energy. It will keep you in a positive state of mind because you're not throwing this on or throwing that on and getting frustrated and then walking out the door and not feeling very good in what you're wearing, which will throw you off for the day. So why not start it on a positive note so that you can just, oh, this is what I'm going to wear. I'm going to put that on. And actually now I have extra time. I can have my cup of coffee. I'm not flying out the door and I'm happy in what I'm wearing. I feel good and I'm ready to conquer.
Absolutely. And that's huge. And so I'm glad you said that, pick a couple of things. Even getting ready for this morning, I had two tops picked out. They're just sitting on my little pile. And I tried on the first one this morning. I'm like, no, I think that's not the one today. So this is the one. I just had to go from one shirt to the other. And here we are, right? It's effortless and easy. So girl, I know we could talk a long, long time about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for our friends here today, I want to share a couple of more details and I give you an invitation. Emily and I, with Miss Marcy Bro, if you have not seen the Trailblazing TV where I interviewed Marcy, brand photographer, go back and watch that. The 3 of us are collaborating tomorrow, which is March 25th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to do a live training. You have 3 powerhouses that are going to surround you with some really, during our live training, this is live, it's not pre-recorded in Memorex tomorrow. We're going to each give more tips that you can apply today to help you brand up, rise up, stand up, level up, so you can truly attract the clients that you deserve and desire. So Emily's going to be she's got some really poignant, powerful, practical tips that she's going to share tomorrow, especially for those of you that are still doing a lot of business, just like we are here. We're online, right?
Exactly.
Tomorrow, Emily's going to give you some information to help support you with your brand and your brand style that will help you get more business. And she's got some really powerful insights. So if you want to hear more of her, make sure you register. You can go to branduptraining.com. I'll put that down below in the comments. Make sure you reserve your spot. If you're unable to be with us tomorrow, we have one more on April 1st, same time, same channel. It'll be branduptraining.com at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And then the other thing that the 3 of us are doing is on April 8th. We are investing to be with you for the day, to bring you hands-on, deeper training from 3 different perspectives to really help you brand up and brand you so you can truly exude the confidence to be seen, be heard, let your business go to the next level to attract the clients you need to earn the income you deserve and desire. So that is coming. Ticket registration is open. You can go to branduptogether.com. Again, I'll drop that down below. Get your seat right away. This is a limited seating event. The 3 of us are going to be live in a room. Our attendees are going to be, you're going to be in your own home. And there's going to, I promise, oh my gosh, Emily's got you have some really cool things lined up that are very interactive. so that this is not just, we're not just talking at you, we're going to be working with you, and you're going to be working with the other people that are already enrolled to be with us. So Emily, girlfriend, thank you so much for being here. I love you. I appreciate you sharing what you did here today. Friend, thank you for being with us. Make sure that you reserve your spaces with us, and think about the gals that you know who also need to see this. Share this video. Let's make it go viral, because this is a great opportunity for all of us to lock arms and be together. And gentlemen, for those of you watching, we all work with men as well. Right now, we're talking specifically in the microcosm of serving women. Please know that I do have some very special things for men. And if you want to know how you can rise up and apply, I know Emily works with men, Marcy works with men, I work with men well as well. Not men well, men as well. So connect up with us. We're happy to talk with you on an individual level. But ladies, thank you so much for being here. Emily, thanks for being here. And remember this: you are wanted, you are valued. I see you, I hear you, I stand for you. I've put a stake in the ground to be here to serve, support you, to create a place where you can truly rise up, be seen, be heard, build the business of your dreams. Because who you are and what you do matters. The world needs you. You have super gifts that need to come forth, and it's your time to shine. So live in your power, live in your peace, and as always, rock on.
Thanks for having me, Deborah.
You're so welcome.
We get to see lots of people that are viewing this today. I really think the three of us, you, Marcy, and I, have so much to bring to teach these amazing women so that they can go out there and get what they want.
You got it. All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye.